Hello racing fans, and warm welcome to Trackside, proudly brought to you by World Sports Betting. Bet with the best, bet with WSB. And what's happening this weekend? Well, it is a double header, and it is a return to Kenilworth, now called Hollywood Bets Kenilworth, as is Durbanville as well. So it's our first meeting back at Hollywood Bets Kenilworth for a long time, and really looking forward to this weekend's meeting as well. There are a few feature races that are on the card, and the main event, one would say, is race number 8, which is the Cape Classic Grade 3 for 3-year-olds. That's happening on Saturday, and then we move over to Greyville on Sunday, where it looks like there are a few horses that are absolute standouts earlier on in the card that I like a lot. But we are going to give you 4 horses to follow for the weekend. I trust that you had a fair week, or a wonderful week, or a profitable week. But whatever it is, hopefully the weekend turns out to be a good one for you. As I mentioned, it's 4 to follow. 1 on Saturday at Kenilworth, and we've got 3 horses at Greyville on Sunday. Well, I spoke about the main event on Saturday, and it is the Cape Classic, the Group 3, and this is what I would think when I had a look at both cards. Even though this is a feature for 3-year-olds, I think this could be the shortest price favorite for the weekend, and rightfully so, I must add. And his name is Charles Dickens. He's trained by Candace Bass Robinson. He'll be partnered by his regular jockey, who's Aldo Domea. And let's have a look at him, because he looks like a very exciting 3-year-old who's now captured the imagination very early in his career. He won back in April as a 2-year-old. He won over 1,000 meters. He then followed that up in June over 1,200 meters. They gave him a 3.5-month break after that win. And they brought him back, and arguably his most impressive win to date. He really showed that the break has done him a world of good, and he's matured into just a 3-year-old that is going to go places if he just continues the way he's been training on. Because his last win, I was just super impressed with the way he got that job done. He now does step up to 1,400 meters, and you may ask, well, is this going to suit him better? Well, the way he's been traveling and the way he's been winning his races, this should be no issue for him. If anything, it's going to suit him much better. And when you have a look at his pedigree, well, he's a foot brother to Charles, who's won over 1,200, 1,400 and 1,600 meters. He's also a full brother to Somerset Moha, who's won over 1,400, 1,600, 1,800 and 2,000 meters. He's also related as a half-brother to Steinbach, and Steinbach has won over 1,600, 1,700 and 1,800 meters. So it's in the blood that 1,600 meters plus should be no issue for him. And whilst this field has attracted some fairly useful 3-year-olds, I think he is the one that's going to step up to the next level. And against this type of field, with all due respect, I'm expecting him to win, and win well. And then I mentioned that the stable will have bigger races in mind for him against his generation as well. But this will be his first obstacle, his first hurdle, and I'm hoping that he comes through with flying colors. He's a very exciting horse. His name is Charles Dickens. So he's the one standout that I found at Kenilworth on Saturday. Then we move over to Greyville on Sunday. Well, in the first race at Greyville, there's a horse called Manalaus for the Glen Cotson team. Now, first time out, he was quietly fancied in the betting market when he raced on the poly track over 1,200 meters. That was towards the end of September. And he was poorly drawn, and I mean, watch that replay. He was just dropped out and left to where he was comfortable, and as they turned into the straight, he had a lot of ground to make up, but he only started to get his mind on the job and started to catch the eye very late in the race. He was the fastest finisher in that field, behind Arbitrator, who was the winner. And although that form line hasn't yielded winners, I will tell you that Arbitrator has since come out to run second at the Val, behind Back to Basics. And fourth in that race was a certain Fire Tonic Dennis Dry's runner that came out to run a very good second behind Captain Spirit. So the form line's looking good. And if there is to be a concern for this individual, well, it could be that he's dropping to 5 furlongs. I think the turf's going to suit him beautifully, but 5 furlongs is not ideal for him. But having assessed the opposition, beside the first timers that are unknown in the race, well, number 2, Path to Freedom, is the only other horse that really jumps off the page. That could be an improving sort as well. But we're hoping that number 6, Manaloose, can do the business for Trackside in race number 1 on Sunday. Then on quick and fast, the first 2 races on the card. It's race number 2, and this is the best bet at Greyville on Sunday. I have no doubt about that. This horse will be very, very hard to beat. His name is See It Again, and whilst there are a few first-timers in this field as well, the unknowns, this is an absolute standout. He's had 2 runs, both down the lane at Scottsville over 1,200 meters. The debut run, we just found 1 better on the day, beaten by Captain Casey. Now that form line is worth mentioning. Strawberry Bears come out to win, United Princess won, and Let's Not Linger have come out to win as well. And then last time out over 1,200 meters, he just seemed to be lost down the lane. I don't know what was the reason for that, because it was his second start at the course, but he just seemed to be going nowhere, and then suddenly he took off in the fastest finish behind Captain, that was Cheeky Laddie, sorry, the debut run was Captain Casey, that was Cheeky Laddie last time out. And then from that form line, also worth a big mention, Global Dollars won, Cherokee Trailers won, Forgotten Timers won, and the subsequent winner was Arbitrator, who we following in race number 1 that came through to beat our top choice there, which is Manalouse. Now the form line's clear to see. He's got the experience having raced at Scottsville. I don't see a problem with him going around the turn. This 1,400 meter trip, the way he's been racing, is going to suit him far better than 6 furlongs. And if you can recall, if you watched racing a few meetings back, he was carded to race at Greyville, and unfortunately was scratched at the race meeting prior to the running of the race, and the reason given was a high temperature, an elevated temperature. And that day he looked to have a serious chance of winning as well. But I had a word with Michael Roberts after, the scratching of See It Again that day, and he said that it was just a precaution. There was nothing untoward, nothing wrong with the horse. He just uses it as a precaution because, things, he didn't want to make excuses after the running of the race if the horse had to get beat. So it was just an elevated temperature, and I think this horse against this type of field, if anything is not, special of these first timers, he'll win and win well here. Number 6, See It Again in race number 2. And then the third of our 3 runners on Sunday comes up at the back. It's race number 8. Now here I think we got a lot of value, guys, because I had a good look at this field, and this horse called Bristol Bowfighter, number 9, guard puller, teaming up with Serena Moodley. Now he won his maiden on the poly track. That was back in January over 1,400 meters. He was given a break around 5.5 months. He was given a layoff, and since then he's had 1 run every month in June, July, August, and September. He's just had 1 run in each, which has seen his merit rating drop from an 80 at a high to a 68 now at a low. And last time out there were signs of a 68 that he may be coming back to form. That wasn't the worst of runs behind Escoval. He was beaten 3 lengths, but over 1,200 meters. This distance of 1,400 is going to suit him much better. And the opposition that he takes on, there is form to recommend. There are horses that seem to be in a good place. There are others that are dropping in the racing. It looks like a competitive field, but I think he is definitely the value of this mark of 68. And 1,400 meters off a low rating. Having had these runs that has seen his rating come down, I think number 9, Bristol Bowfighter, will be a price. It will be a decent price. And if all things go according to plan, he should have a serious chance of closing off the meeting. And I'm quite excited to see him run on Sunday. Bristol Bowfighter in race number 8 at Greyville on Sunday. Could be the way to end off the day. It could be the way to end off all 4 to win. The one on Saturday, which is Charles Dickens in the Group 3 feature of the afternoon. One of the many features that they're having. It's the Clay Classic. It's over 1,400 meters. We then go to Manaloose, See It Again, and Bristol Bowfighter. And that's our 4 to follow for the weekend. Have an awesome one, guys. Find all the winners, make a sizable profit as well. On behalf of World Sports Betting, thanks to all the punters, but more importantly and more especially, thanks to you, the valued customer. Until next weekend, you take care. Salani guys.